Oh, hey, how's it going, everybody? It's Michael Boy. I'm here with Read, Remember, Repeat, and we just want to let you guys know, we could be doing something selfish, things for ourselves, right? But we started a charity, and this is very unselfish on our part because what we want to do is give back to the kids, the youth, the orphanage, the homeless, the people that don't have those new ideas because they're stuck in a revolving door. So what we want you guys to do is definitely reach out to us. This is the link right here. Help us save a life. Click the link in bio. Read, remember, repeat. What another amazing day, gang. Read, remember, repeat. Read, remember, repeat. Read, remember, repeat. And it's your host, Michael Boy. We are here today, back into Outwitting the Devil. We didn't finish the Q&A. But so far, man, I've been loving this, man. It has been helping me get through my days, just knowing that, like, fear is like the #1 disease in the world, you know what I mean? Fear creates everything. I'm actually dealing with some family stuff right now, but we gotta keep faith because fear is not where we want to live. We want to live in faith, right? Accurate thinking, non-drifting. But we're going to jump right into the Q&A, and y'all know where y'all at, so let's tune in. Question. You have given me a graphic description of the drifter. Please now describe the non-drifter so that I may recognize him on sight. The first sign of non-drifter is this. He is always engaged in doing something definite through some well-organized plan which is definite. He has a major goal in life toward which he is always working, and many minor goals, all of which lead toward his central scheme. The tone of his voice, the quickness of his step, the sparkle in his eyes, the quickness of his decisions clearly mark him as a person who knows exactly what he wants and is determined to get it, no matter how long it may take or what price he must pay. If you ask him questions, he gives you direct answers and never falls back on evasions or resorts to subterfuge. He extends many favors to others, but accepts favors sparingly or not at all. He will be found up front whether he is playing a game or fighting a war. If he does not know the answers, he will say so frankly. He has a good memory, never offers an alibis for his shortcomings. He never blames others for his mistakes, no matter if they deserve the blame. He used to be known as a go-getter, but in modern times, he is called a go-giver. You will find him running the biggest business in town, living on the best street, driving the best automobile, and making his presence felt wherever he happens to be. He is an inspiration to all who come in contact with his mind. The major distinguishing feature of the non-drifter is this. He has a mind of his own and uses it for all purposes. The non-drifter has a mind of his own and uses it for all purposes. Can you think of someone you know who fits this description? Is that person a non-drifter? Question. Is the non-drifter born with some mental, physical, or spiritual advantage not available to the drifter? No. The major difference between the drifter and the non-drifter is something equally available to both. It is simply the prerogative right of each to use his own mind and think for himself. Question. What brief message would you send to the typical drifter if you wish to cure him of this evil habit? I would admonish him to wake up and give. Give what? Some form of service useful to as many people as possible. Question. So the non-drifter is supposed to give, is he? Yes, if he expects to get, and he must give before he gets. Question. Some people would doubt that you exist. Answer. I wouldn't worry about that. If I were you, those who are ready to be converted from the habit of drifting will recognize the authenticity of this interview by its soundness of counsel. The others are not worth the trouble it would take to convert them. Question. Why do you not try to stop me from publishing this confession I am wringing from you? A. Because that would be the surest of all ways to guarantee you will publish it. I have a better plan than trying to suppress publication of my confession. I will urge you to go ahead with this publication, then sit back and watch you suffer when some of my faithful drifters begin to make things hot for you. I will not need to deny your story. My followers will do that for me. See if they don't. Now we're going to get out real quick of the Q&A. Knowing that indeed this book was not published for more than 70 years after Hill wrote these words, I am intrigued and anxious to learn what else he will reveal. There are plenty of fireworks still ahead. The confession continues, chapter 5. The confession continues. Question: if this confession of yours stopped right here, your statement would be sound, but fortunately for millions of your victims who will gain their release because of your confession, this interview will continue until you have supplied me with the weapon by which you will eventually be restrained from domination of people through their fears and superstitions. Remember, Your Majesty, your confession has just begun. After I wring from you a description of the methods by which you control people, I will force you also to give the formula by which your control can be broken at will. It is true, I shall not remain here long enough to defeat you, but the published word I leave behind me will be deathless, because it will consist of truth. You fear the opposition of no individual because you know it will be short, but you do fear truth. You fear truth and nothing else, for the reason it is slowly but definitely giving human beings freedom from all manner of fear. Without the weapon of fear, you will be helpless and entirely unable to control any human being. Is that true or false? I have no alternative but to admit that what you say is true. Now that we understand each other, let us go ahead with your confession. But before we continue, I may as well take time out to do a little boasting on my own account. Now that you have had your fling at it, I will confine myself to one question, the answer to which will give me all the satisfaction I want. It is not true that you control only the minds of those who have allowed the drifting habit to be fixed upon them. Yes, that is true. I have already admitted this truth in a dozen or more different ways. Why do you tantalize me by repeating this question? There's power in repetition. I'm forcing you to repeat the highlights of your confession in as many different ways as possible so your victims may check this interview and determine its soundness by their own experiences with you. That is one of my little tricks. Do you approve of my method? You couldn't be setting a trap for me for the purpose of doing some more boasting, could you? I am asking the question and you are doing the answering. Go ahead now and confess why you are powerless to stop me from forcing this confession from you. I want your confession for aid and comfort to victims of whom I intend to release from your control the moment they read your confession. A, I am powerless to influence or control you because you have found the secret approach to my kingdom. You know that I exist only in the minds of people who have fears. You know that I control only the drifters who neglect to use their own minds. You know that my hell is here on earth and not in the world that comes after death. And you know also that the drifters supply all the fire I use in my hell. You know that I am a principle or a form of energy which expresses the negative side of matter and energy, and that I am not a person with a forked tongue and a spiked tail. You have become my master because you have mastered all your fears. Lastly, you know that you can release all of my earthbound victims whom you contact, and this definite knowledge is the blow with which you will deal me the greatest damage. I cannot control you because you have discovered your own mind and you have taken charge of it. There now, Mr. Earthbound, that confession should feed your vanity to the bursting point. All right, family, it's source time, and after the source, we will be back with the book. Let's go.
And now the equities start to flow. And the early return, I'm telling you, if you'll start this process, the early return will have you so excited, you'll commit yourself to this strategy for the rest of your life. You'll never go back to the old ways. Join a new crowd, join a new group. The disciplines to do it, take action. I recommended the last time I was here the little book, Richest Man in Babylon, and I said I've lectured now to over 3 million people in the last 33 years, and I've recommended this little book to almost all of them, I think. Guess how many have actually gone and got this little book? Answer, very few. My best guess is 10%. Such an easy thing to do. In that last seminar, right, I suggested this little book, number one, is easy to find. Number two, it's easy to buy. The most you can pay for it, $6, $7, $8. You can borrow that from your kids. And number three, it's easy to read. It's in story form. That's why I use it for teenagers, teaching them how to be rich by 40, 35 if you're extra bright, much sooner if you find a unique opportunity. But if it's easy to find and easy to buy, and if it's easy to read, why wouldn't everybody go get it? We don't know. What do you know? You don't know. I don't know. Nobody knows. Here's how profound it is. Some do and some don't. Now here's the numbers. About 10% do. 90% don't or won't. And we don't know the mystery of that. And I'm telling you, 10 years from now, those numbers will still be the same. 10% will, 90% won't. The numbers don't change. Only the faces change. You're looking at one of the faces. I used to belong to the 90% who couldn't be bothered even if it was easy.
And we are back, gang. I like this right here. I like this, man, because once you discover your own mind and you take charge of it, right, you realize that fears are not real, right? Because once you're bound by fear, everything else takes over. All it takes is one thing, one little bit of fear, right? So says the devil himself, I cannot control you because you have discovered your own mind and you have taken charge of it. This definite knowledge is the blow with which you will deal me the greatest damage, right? How many of us got over fear before? How many of us got over a situation and you felt like, oh, this is nothing? You know what I mean? It was just in the mind of your head. Question. That last dart was unnecessary knowledge of the sort I have used to master. You does not contaminate itself with vulgar indulgence and vanity. Truth is the one and only thing in the world that can stand ridicule. Now let us continue with your confession. What is wrong with the principle of flattery? You use it, do you not? Do I use it? Man alive. Flattery is one of my greatest useful weapons. With this deadly instrument, I slay the big ones and the little ones. Question. Your admission interests me. Go ahead now and tell me how you make use of flattery. Answer. I make use of it in so many ways. It is so difficult to know where to begin. I warn you, before I answer in detail, that publishing my answers will bring down an avalanche of ridicule on your head for bringing up the question. Question. I'll take the responsibility. Proceed. Answer. Well, I may as well here admit that you have stumbled onto the major secret of how I convert people to the habit of drifting. Question. That is a startling admission. Go ahead with your confession and stick strictly to this subject of flattery. No more side remarks and no more facetiousness facadishness for the present. No more side remarks and no more facadishness for the present. Tell me all about your use of flattery and gaining control over people. Flattery is a bait of incomparable value to all who wish to gain control over others. It has powerful pulling qualities because it operates through two of the most common human weaknesses, vanity and egotism. There is a certain amount of vanity and egotism in everyone. In some people, these qualities are so pronounced, they literally serve as a rope by which one may be bound. The best of all ropes is flattery. Flattery is the chief bait through which men seduce women. Sometimes, in fact, frequently women use the same bait to gain control of men, especially when who cannot be mastered through sex appeal. I teach its use to both men and women. Flattery is the chief bait with which my agents weave their way into the confidence of people from whom they procure information needed to carry on warfare. Wherever anyone stops to feed his vanity on flattery, I move in and begin to build another drifter. Non-drifters are not easily flattered. I inspire people to use flattery in every human relationship where its use is possible, because those who are influenced by it become easy victims of the drifting habit. Flattery is the chief bait through which men seduce women. Family, we on page 102. We gonna end this right here. You know what I mean? And I'll see y'all tonight. We're going to get back into it. Don't worry. We're going to get back into it. So stay tuned, keep your eyes open, stay woke, keep your head up, no fear, you dig? 100.